1939 Individual World Speedway Championship, Part 5. It was at this point that a loud wailing noise erupted round the stadium. Air raid sirens alerted the crowd to the possibility of an imminent German air attack. Immediately all lights in the stadium were turned off. The nervous crowd fell silent. Searchlights scanned the sky. The stadium announcer asked those in attendance to remain calm and indicated the possibility of an orderly evacuation of the stadium. Everyone in the stadium remained in a state of suspended animation for at least 20 minutes. All eyes were trained on the sky above, but there was no sign of enemy planes. There was a second wailing noise that rang round the stadium for a few minutes. Then eventually the stadium lights began slowly to come back on. I am pleased to announce to everyone here tonight that there won't be an attack by the enemy planes, said the stadium announcer. The all-clear siren had just been sounded after the stadium authorities have been informed that this was a false alarm. Apparently, a new technology in use by the War Ministry and the Royal Air Force has confirmed there are no enemy warplanes in British skies tonight. Thank God for that. More importantly, as it is agreed there is no imminent danger of attack, that this Speedway meeting can carry on. Thank God for that too, as I am sure that every one of us here, sometime in the distant future, would hate to think that the 1939 World Final had never taken place because of this war the German government has cursed us all with. I almost thought I was going to have to change my underwear there for a moment, gentlemen, said an ashen Keith Ewan, but fortunately all danger seems to have passed, and the meeting will continue as there is no danger to public safety. I think a lot of people would have hated to see this meeting abandoned at this point in the proceedings, but according to the information I have received, the British government has deemed it most important that this meeting proceed, as further indication to the German military that nothing will prevent the British people from going about their everyday business, no matter what the nasties inflict on us. Keith paused to reflect on the gravity of the situation. So who's going to win it, gentlemen? Said Keith finally. Langton or Milne? Cordy, that is. The world champion has to be one of four riders to my way of thinking, said Chris Lewis. Langton, Cordy Milne, Bill Kitchen and Wilbur Amaral, with Jack Parker, Arthur Atkinson and Jack Milne there with an outside chance of taking the title, added Steve Johnson, though I am disappointed there are no Australian riders with enough points to cause a real upset. It's a pity Bluey Wilkinson retired from riding to become a promoter, said Keith in sympathy. I am sure he would be the one rider who would have relished riding in these high pressure conditions we all find ourselves in tonight. There might not be an Australian rider in a position to win the meeting, said Chris Lewis, but they are certainly in a position to dictate who will wear the world crown. That's right, Chris, said Keith. Both Ron Johnson and Lionel Van Praag are out in the next race. Cordy Milne will also have his hands full with one of the pre-meeting favourites, Arthur Atkinson, back to Kelvin and Nigel for Heat 13. This one is destined to be a real cracker, Keith, said Nigel Pearson. We have the two Australians, Johnson and Van Praag, up against Cordy Milne, but it's really important for Arthur Atkinson to put one over on the American. Can he do it, Kelvin? We shall see, Nigel, said Kelvin. Heat 13. Riding in red, Ron Johnson; in blue, Lionel Van Praag; in white, Cordy Milne; and in yellow, Arthur Atkinson. On the track, the arrival of the four riders on the track settled the nerves of the people in the packed stadium, grateful they could once more focus on a Speedway meeting and take their minds off their thoughts on the impending war. Van Praag, Cordy Milne, Arthur Atkinson left the starting gate in tandem with each other, Ron Johnson falling in behind the three leading riders, now making their turn into bend 1. Cordy Milne emerged from bend 2 ahead, Arthur Atkinson hot on his trail, Van Praag closing the door on Johnson, coming up the inside, entering the back straight. Cordy Milne head down, tight to the new line, flew along the straight, turning smartly into bend 3. Atkinson right behind him, making the turn through bend 4. Onto the home straight, into lap 2. Cordy Milne made his way into bend 1, lap 2. Atkinson probing under the American, entering bend 2, lap 2. Atkinson barges under Milne, exiting the bend, taking the lead on the back straight. Milne breathes hard down the British rider's neck. Atkinson makes his turn into bend 3, lap 2. Milne over his shoulder, broadsides, turns into bend 4, lap 2. Milne shoots forward, gains the lead on Atkinson as they cross the line into lap 3. Milne drives hard into bend 1, lap 3. Atkinson drives under the American, forcing him off his line. Atkinson cuts back on the apex of the corner, powers forward through bend 2, lap 3. Milne closes the door on Atkinson. Milne is half a bite length ahead of Atkinson down the back straight, pressing on into bend 3, lap 3. Atkinson goes mid-track to shut out Van Prague, riding round the boards. Atkinson turns into bend 4, lap 3, picks up dirt, thrusting forward onto the home straight, over the line into lap 4. Milne maintains his lead. Atkinson holds off another attack by Van Prague, entering the first bend, lap 4. Atkinson keeps tight to the line, entering bend 2, lap 4. Milne drifting off his line, entering the back straight, holding off the determined Atkinson. The American presses on into bend 3, lap 4, with Atkinson right behind him. Atkinson pushes hard under Milne, entering bend 4, lap 4, pushing the American off his line, entering the home straight. Atkinson is ahead of Cordy Mill as they drive to the line. Cordy Milne pushes his way past Atkinson, taking the checkered flag from the unfortunate British rider, who is half a wheel length behind the American racer. Van Prague picking up third place ahead of Ron Johnson. Cordy Mill on 3 points, Arthur Atkinson 2, Lionel Van Prague 1, Ron Johnson 0. That must be the race of the night so far, said an excited Nigel Pearson. You can't fault either Arthur Atkinson or Cordy Milne for effort there, agreed Kelvin Tatum. Cordy Mill has 19 points to his name now, Kelvin, said Nigel. Seems to me he is well on his way to becoming 1939 world champion. Eric Langton has to match Cordy Mill's performance in that race, added Kelvin, and if he does, we have a last heat decider to determine the destiny of the world championship. Langton will have his work cut out in the next race, announced Nigel. He is up against 2 American riders in this one of whom just happened to be Cordy Mill's brother, Jack. Heat 14. In red, Alex Tatham. In blue, Benny Kaufman. In white, Jack Mill. In yellow, Eric Langton. On the track, on leaving the tapes, Jack Milne held Eric Langton tight against the fence. Milne cutting down to the line, turning through bend 1, sweeping over the top of Benny Kaufman, who had leaned on Alex Tatham all the way to the first bend. Eric Langton turned hard on the apex of the corner, picked up the grip he needed, shooting forward out of bend 2, passing Jack Milne as all 4 riders entered the back straight. Langton opening up the throttle, racing off down the straight. Langton turned into bend 3. Milne locked in behind him, pushing under the English rider, buffeting Langton all the way through bend 4. Langton clung on to his lead onto the home straight into lap 2. Milne pushed his way past Langton, heading into bend 1, lap 2 on the line. Langton riding mid-track, turning into bend 2, lap 2, powering onto the back straight, picking up grip. Milne holding his lead down the straight. Langton drove hard under Milne, entering bend 3, lap 2. The American refusing to be moved off his line. Langton persisting through bend 4, lap 2, pushing the American onto the home straight over the line into lap 3. Langton pressed the issue down the home straight, getting under Milne, entering bend 1, lap 3, emerging in front of the American, exiting bend 2, lap 3. The American in pursuit down the back straight. Langton makes it to bend 3, lap 3. Milne right there with the British rider, now turning through the bend, glued to the line, entering bend 4, lap 3. Milne driving on the Langton. Langton clamping down on Milne. Over the line into lap 4. Langton holds off the persistent pressure of Jack Milne. The British rider making a controlled turn into bend 1, lap 4. Milne turning mid-track, powering forward under Langton, entering bend 2, lap 4. Milne picking up the grip, pushing forward, half a bite length ahead of Langton along the back straight. Langton pushing at the American, entering bend 3, lap 4, driving under Milne. The American resisting the British rider's attack. Langton pushes harder, turning into bend 4, lap 4, committed now to forcing Jack Milne to give way, but the American refuses to budge, then drifts to mid-track, thrusting forward to the line. Langton makes one last determined drive towards the line, crossing the line half a wheel length behind the 1937 world champion. Benny Kaufman a close third. Jack Milne 3 points, Eric Langton 2, Ben Kaufman 1, and Alex Statham 0. Jack Milne did Cody Milne a great favour in that race, deduced Nigel Pearson. Eric Langton is not out of it though yet, observed Kelvin Tatum. It's all on the last race now, that's for sure. Eric Langton has to beat Cody Milne to force a run-off at the very least. Then he has to beat him a second time in that run-off, calculated Nigel. And if he does that, sighed Kelvin, there is no doubt Eric Langton would be a worthy world champion, having beaten Cody Milne twice and starting a bonus point behind the American. But there is a lot more points scoring to take place before then, said Nigel. It is in the interests of the main contenders behind Milne and Langton to keep on scoring points in case both Langton and Cody Milne slip up in Heat 20. Heat 15. O'Blowson in red, Frank Berry in blue, Eric Chitty in white, and in yellow, Jack Parker. Out on the track. Jack Parker never overcame the handicap of being a full 3 points behind Cody Milne and 2 bonus points in arrears of Eric Langton, which perhaps played on his mind, the reason he followed Frank Berry into bend 1. O'Blowson tried to balk the wily old campaigner. Parker leaned on the young Australian entering bend 2, causing Lawson to shut off momentarily, leaving Parker to chase off after Frank Berry down the back straight. Parker stoked Very through bends 3 and 4, picking up grip, entering into the home straight. Very driving over the line into lap 2 without a care in the world. Parker pushing him all the way through bends 1 and 2, lap 2. Very entering the back straight, still ahead of Jack Parker. O'Blowson drove under Jack Parker on the turn into bend 3, lap 2. Parker emphatically closing the door on the young Australian. Very has the time to turn through bend 4, lap 2, onto the home straight into lap 3. Very drives smoothly into bend 1, lap 3. Parker turning on the apex of the corner, picking up grip, driving forward out of bend 2, lap 3 onto the back straight. Parker finally getting ahead of Very on the approach to bend 3, lap 3. Turning into the bend, Parker cuts into the line, turning through bend 4, lap 3, out onto the home straight, crossing the line into lap 4. Very picking up grip, passing Parker, then turning into bend 1, lap 4. Parker driving under Very. Both riders locked together, exiting bend 2, lap 4. Very maintaining his lead over Parker down the back straight. Parker opening the throttle wide, pressures Very, entering bend 3, lap 4. Frank Very keeps tight to the line, turning into bend 4, lap 4. Parker still pushing hard, intending to dislodge Very's hold on the line. Both riders tied together, entering the home straight. Very holds the lead position as both riders press forward full throttle, determined to get there before the other rider, with a frustrated Jack Parker unable to peg back Very, only just holding off a last determined effort by O'Blowson. Frank Very 3 points, Jack Parker 2 points, O'Blowson 1 point, Eric Chitty 0. I think that developed into something of a grudge match, chortled Kelvin Tatum. Strange it is, observed Nigel Pearson, how sometimes it is the most hard-fought races in a world final are battled out between riders who are no longer in real contention for the world championship title. Strange indeed, confirmed Kelvin, but there is no doubting that both Bill Kitchen and Wilbur Lamoureux are in contention for at least a place on the podium, if not the championship itself. Heat 16. Riding in red, Bill Kitchen; in blue, Wilbur Lamoureux; in white, Eric Collins; and in yellow, Vic Duggan. On the track, there was no denying Wilbur Lamoureux's determination to be on the podium, making the gate from Bill Kitchen and Eric Collins, with Vic Duggan riding smartly round the boards to cut inside, turning through bend 1. Duggan rode inside of Kitchen and Collins, exiting bend 2, falling in behind Lamoureux, entering onto the back straight with the two British riders giving chase to Lamoureux and Duggan. The American turning into bend 3, with Duggan tucked in neatly behind him. Kitchen, desperate to make up ground, picked up drive, exiting bend 4, thrusting forward onto the home straight. Duggan holding off Kitchen's determined effort to pass as the riders crossed the line into lap 2. Lamoureux progresses into bend 1, lap 2. Duggan keeping tight behind the American. Kitchen pressing the young Australian, exiting bend 2, lap 2, entering the home straight. Kitchen turns on the heat. Duggan blocks Kitchen's attempts to go around him through bends 3 to 4, lap 2. The Australian ahead on the home straight. Kitchen picks up more grip, crossing the line into lap 3. The momentum carrying him past Duggan. Kitchen dives to the line, entering bend 1, lap 3. A bike length behind Lamoureux, cutting in hard, picking up the drive, bringing the British rider into contact with the American, exiting bend 2, lap 3. Kitchen and Lamoureux are neck and neck, entering the back straight with the ever-present threat of Duggan there for both riders to reckon with as they make their way into bend 3, lap 3. Kitchen adheres to the line through bend 3. Lamoureux, making his turn, picks up drive, shooting forward through the apex of the turn. The American half a bike length ahead of Kitchen across the line into lap 4. Vic Duggan is preoccupied with Eric Collins, who is aware of Bill Kitchen's position in the meeting, managing now to cause the young Australian problems, while Lamoureux heads Bill Kitchen into bend 1, lap 4. The British rider charges under Lamoureux, turning through bend 2, lap 4, thrusting forward onto the back straight. Kitchen drawing ahead of the American. Lamoureux blocking a move by Duggan, trying to come under the American. Kitchen turns into bend 3, lap 4. Lamoureux tight on the line behind him. Duggan's mid-track, looking for drive, turning on the apex of the corner. Kitchen emerges from bend 4, lap 4. Lamoureux right alongside him, nosing ahead of the British rider, thrusting to the line. Duggan pushing his way forward. Kitchen head down lunges forward. Also, Lamoureux crosses the line, followed closely by Bill Kitchen, a wheel length ahead of Vic Duggan. Eric Collins a yard behind the Australian. Wilbur Lamoureux 3 points, Bill Kitchen 2 points, Vic Duggan 1 point, Eric Collins 0. The Americans have no intention of giving an inch to anyone here tonight, Kelvin deduced Nigel Pearson. That's for sure, responded Nigel. The 1939 World Speedway final is that much clearer now, though I think Kelvin decided decided Nigel, Wilbur Lamoureux could end up on 20 points, and so could Eric Langton and Cody Milne if the winds of Speedway fate should blow in that direction. What do you guys in the studio make of all this?